A very good afternoon to all. Welcome to our Coffee Connect session, Saturday with Saakshi. Today we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Renu Malaviya. Ma'am, we are so pleased to have you here with us today.
My pleasure.
Dr. Malaviya needs no introduction. Professor Malaviya is a professor at the Department of Education, Lady Irwin College, University of Delhi. Her doctoral work is in the area of family-school interaction from Zakir Hussein's Center of Educational Studies. She has completed her M.Sc. Child Development from Lady Irwin College, University of Delhi and M.Ed from Himachal University. She is a diploma holder in the Management of Learning Disabilities from SNDT University, Mumbai, and a certificate in professional practices, aspects of learning disabilities for children and young people with disabilities from Roehampton University's United Kingdom. Thank you so much for being here, ma'am. Please tell us something about yourself.
Oh, you've already said so much about me. So there's not much to say. Yes, my passion is working with children with special needs, with my specialization of almost 3.5 decades in the area of working with dyslexia, children with dyslexia, inclusive education, and trying to have a connect between general teachers and special educators and the entire multidisciplinary team.
That's lovely, ma'am. As our Coffee Connect session today talks about the gift of dyslexia, and Shaurya Foundation Trust is working a lot in this sector already. So ma'am, my first question to you would be, what is the difference between screening, assessment and diagnosis? Since this is the questions that occurs to most of the parents when they gets to know about the disability of the child. They're just lost where to go about it. So ma'am, if you could guide us, what is exactly the difference and what are the strategies that needs to be adopted when the parents gets to know about the child?
You know, this is one thing which we need to really have a good understanding about, that every screening is the basis. The screening is done by, can be done by a person who is not trained or a professional like a general teacher who is a professional but not in the area of special needs. So in screening, basically we are trying to identify, hey, there seems to be something that needs attention. So we can't even call it a complete red flag. So those are the initial points that we need to identify. It does not mean that if you've done screening, that the child has been identified as dyslexic or dyscalculic. It's like at home somebody is not feeling well, so you put your hand on the forehead and the person says, looks like fever. But then you ultimately go to the doctor, that's screening. But when you go to the doctor, doctor does the test, etc., that's assessment. So assessment is done by a professional like a special educator, a clinical psychologist, anyone who has had training, and people who have RCI registration. Rehabilitation Council of India registration can do assessment, not screening. Screening anyone can do. After you've done the assessment, then comes in to an assessment is done by a number of tests which are very simple paper pencil tests like puzzles, and the children at the end of it really enjoy it. There are no injections, there is nothing putting onto your brain or anything like this. And then from the assessment comes the diagnosis. What are the strengths, what are the limitations of the child? Of the individual, and how do you use those limitations, convert them into strengths, or you have the strengths and use them to improve, help the child learn better, the strategies, etc.
Ma'am, another question that we had was that where are these young adults placed in the society?
They are everywhere. You know, it's because it's an invisible disability. So the problem with the invisible, they face problems, a large percentage of them face problems till they are in the education system.
Right, they do.
And do you know that almost 40% of the multi-millionaires and billionaires across the globe are children with dyslexia or specific learning disability.
Really, ma'am? Ma'am, would you like to name few? That's interesting indeed.
You know, who has developed the entire Disneyland? That person. Who is the founder of the formula E is equal to MC square? Einstein.
Really?
Who is the president? There's a president of America, and there's this Agatha Christie. I love to talk about her. Agatha Christie is a novelist, and her novels are about such intense crime and other things, and so much of intervening of different aspects put together. And you know, Agatha Christie could not write a sentence straight.
Oh my. That's
and can you imagine that
mystery.
if she wrote anything, she couldn't read it. She had a stenographer, a typist, who was a very close to, I mean, who worked very closely with her, and she would somehow copy down whatever she had written, and that's how our novels came in. Imagine, so it's not, again going back to the point that writing is a skill, if we look at it as a skill rather than as not being intelligent.
Exactly, right.
Then we have, of course, Abhishek Bachchan, actor. There are so many other actors. Remember, arts is a left. We are talking about the right brain, the artistic brain. That's why we have all these different artists, actors, painters who are very good, and event managers. And you will find the hoteliers full of people with dyslexia, and you will find a lot of people who are very good with computers, and many of them are high functioning autistic. So this is where they are placed, all of them. So what is happening in the education system?
Yes, ma'am. Are they like good to be included in the inclusive setup, or do they study in special schools?
As of now, we have organizations like Shaurya Foundation who are trying to fill in the gap.
Totally.
They are able to elicit the best out of these children.
Truly.
And there are many other special schools, special centers for these children. But they can be, and many are in the mainstream inclusive setup.
Totally.
They can easily be part of the mainstream, the regular school. Only we need to move towards more learner-centered methods in the classroom, which would include all the arts, like I've already spoken about.
Right.
A lot of, instead of giving all written part, if the teachers use a lot of, the good effective teachers anyway use a lot of graphics. They'll draw a flow chart, they will draw a diagram, they will use a lot of action. Here I am sitting, I'm not going to move my eyes, I'm not going to move my hands at all, and only my lips. Is this looking more better? Or when I explain with my non-verbal expressions, when I use my hands, my body, right, my eyes, right? Now this is how different ways the same information goes in. All effective teachers know how to do this. So a child with SLD can easily be incorporated into the classroom. If I was taught, I remember my teacher who taught us about what was it? The earth rotates, rotation and revolution.
Right, ma'am.
So one fine morning, the chairs were pushed back and all of us were standing there. One was the sun, and the sun had to be still. And who was made the sun? The person who was most active in class said, today you're going to try and be still. It was very difficult. And the others were rotating. And then there was the revolution going on. We have never forgotten. And the next step came in that the different planets had to rotate, had to revolve in a different at a different speed. It was difficult for us, but we have never forgotten which Earth, I mean, which revolves faster, which planet revolves slowly, and there are moons also. It was so exciting. It was so exciting.
Indeed.
So if we could use dance and theatre and lot of jingles.
Yeah, we do that a lot at Shaurya. We end the day and we start the day with the jingles.
Exactly. And that is also education.
Totally, totally.
So we had this song about Ande se lava, lava se pupa, pupa se machhar bane, and all our life I've remembered the life cycle of a mosquito.
How can you forget such an interesting song, ma'am?
So, you know, so this is how, and technology.
Right.
We are not using enough technologies in our classroom.
Totally.
Why should we tell when you're talking about different type of glaciers or different types of clouds? I know most schools have a technology department now, but if we could use it more, the different types of clouds. So if you have that particular video coming into the class, they will remember. So next time you're going to fly, remember the cotton clouds there, and take a pic and bring it back. And so do things like this in the classroom.
Exactly, definitely. Ma'am, this reminds me of the fact that we were like teaching our young adults about the international flags. And we've been drawing, we've been telling them, nothing really worked. And then we had this event with the Israel Embassy at our campus where they came, and these young adults, they made flags, they made lanterns, and they met the Israeli people. None of them till now has forgotten the flag's color. They know the Israeli language a little bit, they are greeting us with shalom and whatnot. So these kind of cultural exchange does wonders with our young adults.
Absolutely. And then somebody would say, we do have people who say, you know, but that's so time consuming. But teaching the flags again every year is also time consuming.
Totally.
Yeah, we have taught them, now they'll never forget the Israeli.
They'll never forget, yeah. I mean,
so they don't have to remember, be taught again and again the same thing.
Totally.
And you know what? Read, suppose many a time, now it's so easy, speech to text and text to speech. The mobile is such or this laptop is such an advantage. As soon as I make a spelling mistake, there's a red thing or a green thing comes down.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is more important, me understanding the concept of pollution, of photosynthesis, or just remembering the spelling correctly of photosynthesis. Let it be for the language teachers to manage.
Right, definitely.
So this is a lot of speech to text. Mobile has it, it's all over now. There are books where you have a pen which is called the reading pen, and the pen goes across and it reads out to you. Such a simple device.
Definitely, ma'am.
Why doesn't every child have that?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's all about priorities. I mean, some parents are happy spending at other places, but some smart parents do invest in these things and they do pay off in the near future.
So that is what I would say, that let us, when we move into the 21st century, let's move in with all the dyslexic thinking skills.
Indeed.
I would also like to end with that example. You know, when we say children with dyslexia, children with specific learning disability are bad with spelling, we are teaching them spellings in an incorrect way.
Right. Ma'am, it's rightly said that there's never a bad child, there's always a bad way of teaching.
Exactly.
Right.
And the biggest, so we can so well end on this, the biggest inventions, breakthroughs have been made by the dyslexic mind,
Indeed,
who
indeed.
refuse to accept that this is the only way.
Right.
And they were
right.
able to see things which nobody had seen earlier. So the apple was always falling down from the tree.
Right, it was always right. But then there was somebody with dyslexia who noticed it in a way, and now it's all over in our history. Very well explained, ma'am. Our next question from the audiences have come up to be differences between SLD, autism, ADHD and mental retardation and intellectual disability. What is the specific difference and how to differentiate all these disabilities, ma'am?
The ability to differentiate all these disabilities will again go through the entire assessment and diagnosis done by specialists and trained professionals in this area. But
Right.
as a parent, as a teacher, as an educationist, as a layperson, I need to understand what is the difference between this. Yes, yes. You know, the word mental retardation is not being used. It should not be used. Gradually it's weaning off. So it's a lovely word. So instead of that, we're using the term now intellectual disability.
Right.
Specific learning disability,
Right.
autism spectrum disorder, intellectual disabilities. These are all brain related, or they are called neurodevelopmental disabilities, or as I still say more about it, they are actually diversities of the how the brain
Indeed,
functions.
definitely, ma'am.
In the case of intellectual disability, the intelligence level or the IQ, we can't say intelligence, how you assess the quotient, the intelligence quotient may be below, is often below average.
Right.
In the case of a child with specific learning disability, which includes dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, developmental aphasia, and many others, but this is what our act of our country, RPWD Act 2016 talks about. Here the child is average or above average in intelligence. And if they are average and above average in intelligence, then they can do as well in the school system as you and me.
Right.
But the issue is the education system works on certain paradigms, structures of the brain,
Right. Right.
but their brain is different.
Indeed.
Their intelligence is not less.
Right.
In the case of autism spectrum disorder, that is, you know, some of them may have below average intelligence, some may have average intelligence, but we have the high functioning Asperger's and others. They have intelligence far more than probably you and me. They have above
amazing is
average.
that?
Many of them are geniuses.
Right. Right.
But again, the education system, the society tends to fail them.
Correct. Correct. That happens all the time.
Exactly. And they are, especially, the problem with the children with autism, they are, sometimes I feel they work like a computer. You know, it's right or wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, they do not look at the grays.
Totally. Totally.
So their imagination is difficult for them. But if they work in strategies in a very structured, scientific manner, they're able to do extremely well.
Totally.
Therefore, I think Shaurya has a very good program, I hear, about baking.
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
suppose baking is one thing. When I thought, how do children with autism are doing so well?
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Probably it's so systematic. You
Right.
put in so much of sugar, so much of oil, so much of batter. It's so systematically
Exactly,
done.
yes.
And that is where their forte is.
True.
They are not very happy with social interactions, socializing, understanding jokes. The baking doesn't require that at all.
Of course. Of course. Yes, ma'am. Definitely. Definitely.
So they make such wonderful cookies.
Yes, ma'am. Indeed.
And they're so good with computers.
Indeed, indeed, and not to missing the art element.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes. And I've seen that at Shaurya and other places where you have children with autism. They do so well with art therapy, dance, theatre, movement therapy, nature. They're so good with animals, and of course things like skills, like baking and painting.
Yes,
and therefore the Diwali Melas turn out to be so very
Yes,
effective.
indeed. You should not miss the Diwali Mela hosted by Shaurya Foundation Trust. It's an event we wait for like the whole year. It is indeed a grand event, ma'am. You should join
it's
us.
so nice the way the children with specific learning disability are able to manage the event so well.
Definitely.
And the children with, or the young adults with the autism are able to make such wonderful material for the event.
Definitely.
It's wonderful.
Definitely, ma'am. It's indeed a sight to witness. Ma'am, our next question from the audiences has come out to be, what exactly is this dyslexic thinking?
Oh, when you're talking about the 21st century, think what is going to be most important skills for the 21st century. It is the dyslexic thinker who will be at the top of it. Why? Because dyslexic thinkers, they are able to look, and this is what earlier when child. Let me just go back a little bit.
Right.
When we talk about reading, writing, spelling, they are skills. They are not intelligences.
Right.
But our education system looks at them more like they are intelligences. You can't read, you are below average in intelligence.
Definitely.
You can't spell properly, below average in intelligence.
That happens all the time, yeah.
And therefore these children with specific learning disability, dyslexic, dysgraphia, graphic, they start thinking, they're not smart enough. The world says you're not smart enough. They start thinking they're not smart enough.
That's true. That's why we do a lot of work, ma'am, on the life skill and the emotional quotient of the child at Shaurya.
Oh, one?
Yes, and recently we have also launched etiquette coaching.
This
Yes, ma'am.
is exactly when you're talking about the dyslexic brain, which
Right.
is the right brain,
True,
and that's
true,
what
true.
dyslexic thinking is all about,
Yes,
life
exactly,
skills, emotions, connecting with others, looking at the larger picture. Therefore, you will find them such good event managers.
Definitely they are.
And they are also so good at, they think in images. And therefore they're good with media, social media presentations, with technology. They also are very good leaders. And why?
Indeed.
They can get work done from others. Very good at delegating work.
Definitely, ma'am. Our young adults at Shaurya, they are the ones who handle all the events. So there's this young adult at Shaurya named Prerna. You'll come to Shaurya and she will be the one taking care of you from the door till the time you're here. And then there's another boy, Princey. He will make sure that you do not leave the place without the pamphlets.
Okay.
Or without tasting the yummy, delicious cookies that we made.
Yes, I have tasted those yummy, delicious cookies that are made by Princey and the entire team of children with SLD and autism at Shaurya.
Yes, ma'am,
it's
definitely.
so good. And they could also make very good teachers and professors. I've seen
Definitely.
one of your student who's very good at telling you exactly what to do, where to do. I'm forgetting her name. But the only problem is to become teachers and professors, you have to go through that logical, sequential learning education system.
Exactly.
And that's not how they learn best.
Totally. So
Although with the new education policy 2020, where they're talking about learner-centered education, and we
Right.
can put in art therapy like Shaurya is doing it, and with dance therapy and all the different ways of multiple intelligence and
Exactly.
universal design of learning, these
Right,
children
right.
will be able to blossom so well.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, our summer fiesta at the Ikigai Club is made with that essence of including diversity and infusing all diverse learners under one umbrella.
Ah, yes, yes. So exactly what Shaurya is doing is what the latest education policies are saying.
Right.
That mainstream doesn't mean that the child only with differences comes into the classroom and sits there. The child also has the potential, the abilities, the way the child learns well,
Right.
best should be incorporated into the education
Definitely,
system.
ma'am. Definitely. Definitely. So, we are doing a lot as per the universal design, which is laid by the university at Shaurya already, and we intend to do a lot more approaches as suggested by ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much for your time, and not to forget, we would want our Saturday with Saakshi Coffee Connect mug. We want it signed by you, ma'am. It will be our
Oh,
honor to have it
thank
on our
you.
desk, ma'am. Please go ahead.
It's amazing. Thank you so much. And so, thank you for having me here. And here I write my name. And wow, this is going to be great. So, is it visible there? Yeah. Thank you so much. It
ma'am.
was a pleasure
Same here, ma'am.
interacting with you.
We look forward for more Coffee Connect sessions. Till then, stay connected. Bye.